I'm Chris Lang, a fiber artist who has a passion for using wool from my own sheep for felting. I want to show you one of the ways that I felt stems for some of my pieces. I start with a piece of wool roving, and I do like to kind of stretch it out a bit, and I need a bamboo placemat that's laying on a uh, bath towel, and I lay the roving out onto the placemat with a little bit of it out beyond the edge of the placemat. Fold the placemat up over the roving, and I roll it. And what this does is it starts the stem, and the wool is still dry at this time. Okay. After that, I'll fold it up, fold it back, and then wet the part that I've rolled. And I like to do this from both sides so that I'm sure that the water penetrates all the wool. Okay, after it's wet, I'll fold the placemat back up over the wet wool and start rolling again. This time when I roll, I'm just rolling. I'm not adding any pressure, because the things that cause wool to felt is the hot soapy water, pressure, and agitation. Wool has the microscopic scales along the fibers, and when it gets wet and pressure and agitation is added, those scales open, and by rolling this softly at first, it does give a chance for those scales to open up. Okay, after a while, I'll start rolling, adding more pressure. And the placemat is what's creating the agitation, because it's rough. And I like to stand up when I'm doing this, because I get a lot more down pressure in my hands. And I also like to use the palm of my hands and not my fingers, because I have more strength in the palm of my hand. The reason for the towel is this will keep the water from running off the table and onto the floor. Okay, you can see that the stem has gotten smaller, and it's starting to stick together. The wool's starting to stick together. It's still rather soft, so I'm going to roll it some more. When I first started felting, I thought it was magic. Being able to take loose wool fibers, add hot soapy water, pressure, and agitation to get the fibers to mat together. Many of my ideas for my Let Nature Sing series comes from walks in my woods. And I like to look at the plants, mosses, ferns, and I try to duplicate some of that in my Let Nature Sing series. When I was growing up, my mother used to take myself and my sister and two brothers. We'd go out in the woods and collect plants, come back and make terrariums in gallon jars. And I think about that when I'm making my Let Nature Sing series. Okay, at this point I'm adding a lot of pressure in my, down pressure in my hands. And it's gotten, my pieces gotten firmer. And I'll use this for a stem, or I can use it for a root. Okay, after I'm happy with the piece, I rinse it in some clear water. And it's important to get the soap out. And you can use your fingers to tell that the soap is gone. Okay, after that, I'll squeeze it some. Roll it up in a part of the mat that's not soapy, and that'll help get some of the water out too. And then I use the towel, of course, where it's not soapy and wet, and blot the soap out. Okay, this can be used really just like this. If you wanted to use it for some roots, you could, as you're applying it to the piece that you're working on, you can add some curves to it. This piece here, what I did is I curled the stems. And to curl the stems, what needs to be done is you need a pencil, and I wrap the piece around the pencil, and secure this with some pins so that the curls will stay. This has to stay like this until the piece dries. And when the piece dries, those curls will still be there, and they will stay there. Okay, like that. And I have a piece here where it is dry, and I'm going to remove the pins. And you can see that it's dry and it's curled. Okay, to attach this to a piece that I'm working on, what I do is the part of the piece that was not felted, where the fibers are loose, I spread those out and lay it. In this case, I'm laying it on a gray wool ball that I made earlier. And I needle felt this in place. Now, a needle felting is done with dry wool. And a needle felt is has a blade that's very sharp, and it has barbs on it that all face down. And as I'm pushing this into the wool, it's pushing, in this case, it's pushing the yellow wool into the gray wool. For the felting that I do, I use both methods, a wet method and the dry method, which is, the dry method is with a felting needle. Okay, the more I push the yellow wool into the gray wool, the more secure it will become. Now, if I did not want this yellow wool to show on my finished piece, I would cover this with some gray wool, the same gray wool that I made the ball from, or in a lot of cases, I will use some other wool, maybe to make this appear as if it's a moss or some other plant next to it. And that's it.